time. Okay, thank you. Okay, so the first point on the agenda is comments from the floor. Do we have any?
Yes, we have Angelo and Chris Babbitt both.
Okay, so Angelo, could you step up over there, please? And introduce yourself, and then you ask you to keep your remarks to 5 minutes or less.
All right. Well, hi, I'm Angelo Fada. I'm here to talk about class rankings for BTEC students. BTEC students are not, or as a BTEC, excuse me. I am a Kanjahari student who attends BTEC. I was told when I attended BTEC that I would be provided all the amenities that a Kanjahari student would have, and I would receive a Kanjahari diploma. But I am not receiving a class rank, which I was not told about. I have worked extremely hard. I've worked countless hours to ensure that I graduate both with a college associate's degree and my high school diploma within a four-year time frame from freshman to senior. I've given up driver's ed to pursue more educational pursuits academically, and I've worked through multiple summers taking college classes. I feel as if my educational pursuits are being dismissed, and I feel underappreciated academically for not being given a class rank, for not being given the opportunity to achieve a class rank.
Okay. All right, thank you. Angelo?
Chris is on.
Oh, okay, Chris.
All right, yep, thanks. We're kind of a one-in-one package, but in any case, so I'm here also to talk about the class ranking for BTEC students. I passed out a couple handouts. I don't know if you have some of those on the board agenda, but regardless, I'll go through this somewhat quickly because I talked to you guys before at the last board meeting. I did have a follow-up meeting with Dr. Nick and Dr. Mark. So I just am going to make my case again. My job here is really to help educate the board and to help the administration understand that, you know, it really is, I think, fair and important that BTEC students are included in class ranking for a variety of reasons. All right, so the first reason is if you look at the manual, so we've got two manuals, and you may or may not know, but you're under, I don't want to say the guise, but this is a policy that you're working with the same policy with two different adoption years, right? So we have the first one doesn't really take effect until 2023, right? So I just highlighted that. So I X'd out that portion does not take effect until 2023 according to the policy. So just the top portion that I circled. I do want to reemphasize that the BTEC students, they select the most academically challenging courses. And I can use my son as an example. Going to college, taking winter courses, taking summer courses, consistently works the personal best as measured by their grades, his grades, as well as taking the maximum number of courses, in a 4-year high school period. So he'll be getting, an associate's degree as well as, his Regents diploma. So I think that's pretty good for not only him, but any other student who can achieve that. So I also want to remind the board that in spite of what your personal feelings might be, really it's in your best interest to follow the policy as it's written and what it was intended for. So you really, you know, in my opinion, can't really deviate from that. When I read both of these policy manuals, they're basically, again, the same policy manual, but one takes effect in 2023, so which leads you to the other policy manual, or the other version, the earlier version. I circled that bottom. So you can see I highlighted, it says the weights to be used in the policy are as follows. So that's the weighting that you should be using up until 2023. Also, I circled, or I highlighted FMCC. So technically, any student who's taking courses at FMCC or early admit are the students who really should be considered for the weighting policy. This does not include any student taking courses outside FMCC. So anyone attending a course potentially at HCCC, Mohawk Valley Community College, Cobleskill. So you see what I'm getting at is that there's the intention and there's the written portion of this. And if kids who are taking college courses at other schools or at other colleges are getting class rankings, it's not written in the policy. However, FMCC students, like the PTEC students, should be included in the policy. So I wanted to point that out. So again, there's the two adoptions. PTEC students are an approved pathways graduation, right? So if you look on the third page.
Chris, just one more minute, please.
1 more minute? All right, I'll hurry up. If you look on the third page, these are the pathways to graduation, which means these are courses and these are programs. So those students who are in the arts have a pathway to graduation. That includes art, music. Students who take foreign languages, they can get a world language pathway, so on and so forth. You see STEM, I highlighted that. That's part of PTEC. PTEC is a STEM program, right? So that is a pathway to graduation. That is a course. That is a program, just like any other programs we have. Then the last thing I just want to mention is I think a lot of the students that do attend PTEC have either an IEP or a 504. So I do want to mention that those students are really protected by the law. They should have all the amenities, all of the things that the Carnegie-Harry students have, you know, because they are Carnegie-Harry students. They shouldn't be discriminated against. And so I'm just saying, why not give these kids a class rank? I mean, what's the problem? Just because you haven't done it before doesn't mean you can't correct a wrong. Carnegie-Harry can be the leaders in this and really, you know, really just right or wrong. I really think, I don't know why I'm here advocating for PTEC students. To me, it's in the manual, it makes sense, it's common sense, and I'm hoping that you can have a pretty good discussion and include these kids for, you know, class ranking.
Thank you.
That's it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That's it for speakers?
Gianna, did you want to speak separately, or did you mark down for the prom?
What?
Are you speaking for the prom, or did you want to speak separately?
I'm speaking with Prom.
Got it. Okay.
Okay,
You know how we connect them?
Yep. You all set?
what is the new business you want to move on?
After the S3 drops and the COVID.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All right,
Because it'll go quick.
okay, one of the things I'd like to ask for, is, after the presentation and the reports, I'd like to suggest we move up new business for the PTEC discussion so that the fathers don't need to hang around the whole meeting. Is that agreeable?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so the next point on the agenda is a prom presentation.
Got what?
First of all, could you just introduce yourselves, please?
I'm Gianna Murphy. I'm the president of the junior class of 2023.
And I'm the senior class president, Alyssa Wilkinson.
And your name is?
Alyssa Wilkinson.
Okay, thank you.
So we have some pictures that we took when we visited the venue. I'd like to share with you guys. So we have the outside, and when you first enter into the building, you have nice little stairway with chandeliers.
They're gonna let the kids be able to walk around this, so when after like dancing, they can come take a breather, get away from the heatness of the room, and just kind of get a time to themselves, which I think is really like what we need.
So this is an example of how they've set up the room before with the tables. Outside, the nice railings and kind of their decor in front. Sections.
It's an old-fashioned building, but it's a really beautiful place to be. And there's like several different themes for prom, and we had a blast when we went to go visit. It was really fun. So this is in, prom is taking place on, or could be taking place on Saturday, May 21st of 2022 from 7 to 11. It's a date that doesn't contradict any sports. It doesn't contradict to the band trip that we were having in the beginning of the month. It's a really good time for everybody. We try to make sure it didn't even overlap with Fort Plains prom.
So the day of prom, we're gonna send home a letter to the parents that have to be signed by both the student and the parent, agreeing that they're gonna come and they're going to apply by like all of the rules that we're gonna have for prom. So we'd like all students to be here at 5 o'clock so we can get everyone ready to be on the bus so we can make sure that we're there by 7.
Will all students be going by bus? Is that the plan?
Yes. Unless they have another arrangement like a party bus, and those will go in between the buses.
Okay,
So everyone stays
so it'll
together.
be one group that'll be going?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the expenses of it, the cost per person, the ticket prices would be $50. And we kind of, what we did was we took like the total price of the venue and we divided it by approximately how many people we would be getting. So the cost for the venue per person would be $35. Decorations and favors would be like $3. Transportation as of right now would be $11.50, and the cost of the DJ would be around $7. We're expecting about 130 to 140 people. That's what we had last year. We try to get everybody to go because it is a fun time to involve all students and everybody can interact with each other and have fun.
And then any student who's not able to afford the ticket costs, we're going to provide funding so they're allowed to go with us. So we have just some more pictures of like the outside. And so we'd like to have it at the venue because it gives us an opportunity to enjoy dancing and dining in a new place.
Where is this venue?
It's in downtown Schenectady.
Okay.
It's called Edison Downtown.
Okay.
And it was fairly easy to get to when we went. It was like there was no like detours or anything like that really took us out of the way. Mainly main roads. And there was a parking lot for buses to be able to be parked while we're there. So it's an easy. There's no like they don't have to go someplace. It's right across the street. So it's local.
And then we'd also like to talk to you about the transportation of the buses.
So Schenectady is only around 38 miles away. And my class is we're doing well, but we're not as financially stable as we would like to be. We have been hit with COVID pretty hard, and my freshman year was when COVID came around, and we have been struggling to get fundraisers because as of last year, we were in and out of school, and it was not like this is our first year of like normalcy again, and So we, as our class, we are struggling to get the funds to be able to provide this prom. We are able to get the venue, but if we could ask for help on the transportation, that would be very appreciated. I know last year you guys did provide them with the transportation, and Altamont was further away than Schenectady, I believe. And if you guys could help us in any way you can for transportation, that would be very appreciated. Because the year after, we will also be trying to help support the sophomore class, who are kind of in the same situation as we are, because they got hit with COVID too. So if that would be greatly appreciated if you guys could have a conversation about helping us.
Okay, is that it?
Yes.
Any questions?
Isn't the May 21st, isn't that right around sectionals?
I'm sorry, could you speak a little louder?
The 21st, I believe that's right around sectionals for track.
The sectionals for track is the first week of May.
First week of May, okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
I looked it up.
Yeah.
I looked track too. I didn't want it to involve anything. And I know baseball is the second week, so I looked that up too, because I know baseball players are.
Mhm.
And we went to sectionals last year and we did great, so yeah.
I think you meant first week of June, you mean? Not first
Oh,
week
in
of
June,
May.
yeah.
Yeah, because everything's pushed a week and a half with spring sports.
Okay, any questions? None? Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve their request to have the prom at the Edison House.
I do have one question.
Okay.
What are they doing about COVID testing and whatnot? Are they gonna have something like that going on? Because obviously the kids are gonna be less than 3 feet apart at prom.
I think we'll gauge it as we get closer, and we'll do whatever we feel is necessary at that point. Does that make sense? So if we decide, we're in the, I don't want to say the word clear in May, then we wouldn't do it, but if we feel like we need to, we'll set up a system to get them tested.
So we're following the DOH guidelines.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, we would always do that first, yeah. Right now, there is no guidelines for the,
For a prom?
correct. Yep. But we can go above that.
And we would support that, whatever we had to do for that financially.
For the testing?
Yeah, it wouldn't come out of the student
No,
funds.
yeah, no, that would
Correct.
have to be part of
Correct.
the deal. Well, I would make a motion that we approve the venue for the prom and that we also approve taking care of the transportation costs.
And I would second that.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, I would ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, congratulations.
Nice job. Excellent.
Okay, the next point on the agenda on the reports is a report from the student representative. Take it away.
I wrote this a little out of order, so I apologize for that. Winter sports season started. That's basically the highlight right now. We've got the basketball players going, doing their thing. The swim team is doing well. Wrestlers doing well. Same story. Winter sports are going good. The ski club, which I'm a part of, is planning its first fundraiser in the last 2 years. It's been disbanded in the past due to COVID and other such concerns. But Miss Adams took over the club, and now we're ready to hit the slopes. Royal just opened last weekend, so we're really excited to get out there. Our little fundraiser is just putting candy in a jar and guessing how many pieces are in there. My buddies and I, we've already got the candy, and we're just putting it in a jar and counting it for them. But yeah, we're just doing a quick little fundraiser.
If you win that, do you have to eat it all?
Not necessarily. They get the opportunity to, right? I'm a wrestler, so I'm aware of the wrestling, so that's part of it. We had a tournament in Mohonasen this past weekend. The wrestlers did a phenomenal job. We have 2 very experienced wrestlers who did phenomenal, as always. And then we have a new student, or not new student, but a new wrestler who has found some serious success as well. So we thought that was worth mentioning. And then as you may have seen walking into the lobby, we have the Christmas tree competition between the classes. We have the senior class who's doing wrestling. We have the junior class who's doing hockey, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not really sure what the other two classes are doing yet because they haven't really put too much work on their tree yet. But essentially, it's a fun little competition between the classes, and we're all having a blast decorating the tree and whatnot.
One thing I would ask is please take pictures to go along with next month's report.
Sounds like
the Christmas tree.
Sounds like a deal.
Thank you.
And that's about it. Short and sweet.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments? Oh, you know. Okay, so the next point on the agenda would be a report by Dr. Fitzgerald on an update on the COVID-19 situation, Learning 2025, and diversity, equity, and inclusion questions.
So COVID update. Currently, right now, we're hovering anywhere from 5 to 25 students in quarantine. As I've said before, our high was at about 83. So it seems like we continue to kind of level off in that area. Seems like we go down to about 7 or 8, then obviously it kind of goes up a little bit. But we're pretty consistent in that area. We've pretty much rolled out all the testing procedures except for the PCR machine, which we're still waiting for, and we hope to have it soon. So again, just to reiterate what will happen, we'll be able to test symptomatic students, symptomatic staff, staff that wanted to get tested and who are unvaccinated. And we will also be able to test to stay, which is somebody's quarantined. They can test to stay each day, and test to stay means they test in the morning and they're negative. They can come to school, but only school. They can't do any extracurricular activities and they have to go home in quarantine. That's not our rule. That's the state rolled out the test to stay model. And in day 5, we can test out. So once we have that PCR machine, we'll be able to test to stay, then test out. Right now, currently, parents are going to get test out PCR tests, and that's about half. I know if we had the test machine here, we would probably have a lot more people participate in that. So that's where we are now with the testing piece. There was a little struggle the past week and a half to get tests. I was on the phone with Abbott, which is the company that we get the test from. I was on the phone with the Department of Health, and I was also on the phone with Senator Delgado's office. And Senator Delgado, I just want to say thank you to them. They reached out to Abbott, was able to get some things moving, and we were able to get some tests. Also got us on the docket for our next series of tests too. So I feel pretty comfortable now that we'll have at least the next 3 to 4 months worth of tests. And again, we're just waiting for that PCR machine next. The next piece is ARPA, which is the federal stimulus money. As we said before, that was all approved. All the orders have been put in for all that the teachers and staff, faculty wanted. And we also put the outdoor learning space, a concrete slab down at the elementary. So when the spring comes, we're able to just roll that out. They're able to get in before the winter was over. And we ordered all of the re-imaging furniture that's going to happen down at the middle school, the elementary school, and the high school. And that will happen just during February break. So when the students come back, they'll look a little different in the school, which is kind of nice. So that's all been approved, and we're waiting for one section of the ARPA to be approved, which was the ARPA 2, because the state separated $700,000 of learning loss and summer programming to reapply it again for another application to get that money. So that's where we are with the federal stimulus money at this point. It was impressive today, I have to honestly say. I took a walk around the whole district. I see the drama club, I see the cheerleaders, I see the basketball, I see wrestling, the fitness center, swimming with the young kids over at swimming, youth basketball, youth basketball on the weekend. We had concert, and we're gonna have 2 more concerts. So while we're going through this pandemic, it was impressive just to walk around the district today and see all of those people involved in something. People wearing their masks, following the proper procedures, and we're able to offer those opportunities for our students and the community members. something like this come up today with the prom, it's just encouraging that we can actually talk about it and actually approve something, move that forward. So I gotta say I'm very proud of everybody that's involved in this district, because I think we're a step above. We're putting the testing procedures in place. We're checking the quarantines. We're letting kids have the opportunity to participate as much as we possibly can. And we're watching things as they go. So it was impressive to see today. It was really fun to watch that many people stay involved and be involved in something. So that's the COVID update at this point. Anybody have any questions on the COVID update?
I do, just in terms of the reconfigured classrooms.
Yep.
I was just going through all those slides.
Yep.
And there were a bunch of slides, I know you all probably didn't see them, but there were a bunch of slides for what the new cafeteria would look like reconfigured, what the what the library would look like, what some of the classrooms would look like, what some of the hallways would look like. And it was just quite amazing to me to see that. But the thing that I was really impressed with is that the different configurations, they had all kinds of different seating and cushions and high desks, low desks, things that, and the thing that I would just ask is that there really be some professional development for people to really understand and use these configurations to the maximum effect, because they're all kind of innovative and different, and I think they all have a purpose, and I think it would be really a shame not to get the maximum benefit from them in terms of different types of learning for the students. So I just wanted to say that.
And I think the big part of that too, just let everybody know that's here also, is it goes with the federal stimulus funds to create more learning spaces, spaces where people can spread out, people who can get out of classrooms, and that's pretty much what it'll be. So, for example, out in front of the auditorium will be different seating, so you can take a group of kids and they can go out there to do a project. Up in front of the auditorium, the library, there'll be seating out there in the glass windows, so they can sit out there in groups. So it allows us to kind of expand out of the classroom. The outdoor learning space is the same thing. With our building project that was approved, we have an outdoor learning space going in the middle school. We also have an outdoor learning space going at the elementary and middle school. So we give opportunities to get kids out of the classroom and out of the building in a safer place to learn as well. So yes, definitely in consideration with that too.
One of the things I would just encourage the two class presidents who are here today is, if you go to the agenda for this meeting, which is publicly accessible, it has like 52 slides with different pictures of what the configurations would look like. And I would encourage you to it'll be fun for you, I think, just to look at them and share that with your classmates and to see what's coming,
I'd like to thank the design and drawing class, the design, Mrs. Schaefer's class that looked at all the different colors and the different shapes, and they gave us all the comments back, which was nice. So, DEI, moving forward, the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative. As you know, the New York State Education Department last year came out with that, and we've diligently met, myself and Mark and the Board of Education, rolled out a timeline for this year on how to initiate that. We started with a faculty survey, which was great, great feedback. Dr. Bradwell presented at a conference day. I think did a great job, and we had some great dialogue, which was nice as well. So we moved forward with that. And the survey, two things kind of stuck out with the survey. One was feeling connected, meaning, listen, we've been in this COVID piece for a year and a half, and we've kind of separated because we're sitting in our rooms and we're just doing the job that we're trying to do every single day. And that came back strong as people not feeling as connected. And the other piece was handling sensitive issues when the survey came back. So what we're going to focus on is taking those two areas, and with Dr. Bradwell is come up with a plan for conference day to work on those two areas and have roundtable discussions, get feedback from the faculty and staff. And we're also looking to roll out a student survey. The letter will go out actually next week. It's just a simple 10-question survey. We want feedback from them. It's anonymous. Get some information back, break down the survey again, which will then lead us to what we would do next, to shape policy, curriculum, and the needs of the students as well. So be interested to see that feedback. Myself and Dr. Brody will also be going to HFM BOCES next Thursday night, where they'll be doing a presentation with Dr. Bradwell with all the school districts and the boards to talk about the DEI initiative. So like most things that we do here, we're well ahead, and we're in pretty good shape in terms of putting this initiative in place. Next is the Learning 2025.
Can I just, before you get on to that, I just wanted to share with the board that at the January meeting, we'll be getting the results of both surveys, so that we'll be able to see the full picture and maybe have a discussion of it. So I just wanted to let you know that. Okay.
And leadership training, 2025, Learning 2025 is an initiative that we're rolling into. The Board of Education approved some leadership training for the administration, and we'll be working with Bill Daggett and Ray McNulty, who works with SPN, and also with this Learning 2025 initiative. And what this pretty much is futuristic instruction, what we want to do for our kids in the future, what the model is going to look like in schools in 2025 and 2030. And we will be one of 200 out of 19,000 school districts across the country part of this program, which will be able to dialogue with schools from California, Louisiana, down New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maine, all across the country.
New Jersey?
Yeah, so we have, right now I've been to 4 webinars on this, and it's been nice to have superintendent roundtable discussions. We had one today with 38 superintendents from around the country, and we broke up into groups and talked about some issues. So that's been, it's been refreshing. It's been great to see the dialogue and to get a good indication of what this Learning 2025 initiative is. We're following up with leadership training in December, January, and March with Bill Daggett and Ray McNulty. We've scheduled that. We're doing 3 5-hour sessions, 2 5-hour sessions and 1 6-hour session. And they'll be coming to the school district to meet with the administration. I'll be going to the faculty meetings this Tuesday to talk about the Learning 2025 initiative in general, so everybody knows. I've already talked to the department chairs about it and asked them if they want to attend the conference in national conference in June, which is very similar to the Model Schools Conference. You guys might remember some years ago. And we're looking to invite probably about 15 people from the district to go. We have some title funds, and we got feedback from the department chairs. There's 4 of them attending, which then opens up some pockets for some faculty to go. So I'll be talking to the faculty if anybody wants to go, and talk a little bit about the initiative so they know what it's all about. And remember, it's not about wholesale change. It's about driving instruction into the future. Things that we're doing and we're looking to do anyway, but now we can dialogue with some of the best school districts in the nation and be able to piggyback off of their ideas and see if it fits our district and help us move forward with that. And it's also part of a commission from the Department of Education where Mr. Daggett is leading with about 20 educators, high-ranking educators across the country. And they'll be pretty much taking their ideas and putting it into this initiative too. So we have a lot of resources here that we can pull from. And again, one of 19,000 districts in the country. So that's the DEI at this point.
Okay, any questions, comments? Okay, thank you. So the next point on the agenda will be new business, where we will have a follow-up discussion on the PTEC and ranking.
First of all, Angela, I want to commend you for coming up and speaking, and also commending you on your hard work. I know you put a lot of effort into this, and I know you wanted to graduate early and get it done, and it's amazing that you have an associate's degree in a short time. So I want you to understand that any decision that's made here has nothing to do with specific students or anything of that nature, and to commend you on your hard work. And, you know, I know you're proud, and I know your parents are proud, but you should be proud too. Sometimes we don't take a step back and pat ourselves on the back, but you show that you put in effort and you put in hard work, you get a result, and that's pretty impressive. So through a collection of information from, I've talked to superintendents, I've talked to PTEC programs, I've talked to the PTEC program, I've talked to Mr. Fata, Dr. Brody, worked our way through guidance counselors, and just collected information and came up with, my recommendation, moving forward. The difference between this And coursework this is a program. This is a program for 4 years, and very similar to any other program that students go to for 4 years. It's their program, and they're a part of that. You will have a class rank. You'll have a class rank through PTEC, and that is a class rank through them because you're with that program for 4 years. And that's what we've always done, and that's what PTEC and any other district has done as well. I do refer to the policy, and it does say coursework. It doesn't say programs, and there's your difference. In terms of any 504 and IEPs, they relate to the program that you're in, and they afforded all the same things that you would get in that program that any other student would get. And that's been afforded to any student going to any one of those programs as well, whether it's Adirondack Academy, whether it's PTEC, or a number of different programs. So in terms of the correlation between your policy and correlation to 504s and IEPs, we meet those requirements. So that's my opinion and my recommendation to keep our status quo with it.
Any questions or comments?
I'm digesting.
I'm sorry?
I'm digesting
Digesting?
right now.
All right, so we could take a few minutes to do that.
I do have a question of, are we confident that we're following the policy that we have in place now? And that the policy clearly states FMCC students. Are we taking other classes into account at this point?
We're taking courses, not taking programs.
Right. I'm asking more of not as necessarily about the PTEC thing, but in general, this policy that we're in front of us, or do we use other classes besides FMCC? Because if we do, we should update the policy.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to make sure we're following the policy, that's all.
Yeah.
Well, so are we, or are kids taking classes elsewhere? Is that included here?
That's what I'm
Yeah.
asking. I don't know
Other
that we know
coursework?
that here without Nick here.
No.
I'm not sure we know.
They're all through FMCC, all of our college courses.
Well, I know there's kids who do early admit.
What other
to
courses?
Cobble skill.
Coal skill.
Oh, coal skill.
We have we've got some kids that take things at Parkmore Community
Oh,
College.
fair point.
So I guess our question is, are those classes required courses for graduation of students who choose early admit at FMCC?
This is your new
Because-
policy here.
But I'm reading,
Yeah.
this is the one that's in place right now, because this one doesn't go,
No, the class following changes to the grades go into effect here. The policy is in effect now.
okay, so this is the policy in effect
Correct.
currently. Okay, so this doesn't matter, it's only the weights here
Correct.
that are
Following
being,
changes to the weighted grades will be effective for the class 2023.
okay,
Because you can't change the weighted grades currently of a junior or senior because they're already through.
okay, so then my next question, this is a technicality question here, but in order to be named valedictorian or salutatorian, a student must have been enrolled at Canajoharie High School prior to the start of their senior year. So students who are in PTEC, FMCC, early admit, are they enrolled at Canajoharie High School or are they enrolled someplace else? I don't know if you know the answer to
Yes.
that. I'm just saying that that's a question that I have in terms of the statement that's made there.
Enrolled in our school district, they started their senior year.
It's because that's not what it says. It says enrolled at Canajoharie High School.
Yes.
So if they are a early admit at Cobleskill or early admit at FMCC, they're still considered enrolled at Canajoharie High School.
Correct.
Okay.
What's that?
Then what about the P-TECH students? Are they enrolled at Canajoharie High School?
They're enrolled in their P-TECH program in ninth grade.
They're still Canterbury students. And they still receive the Canterbury diploma.
That's something we do, extra.
No, that's not it, but that's the program that was presented in it. I don't know what it is. Just like the coursework, they take all the regents in the same coursework that everyone else does, plus they take the FMCC courses, and they have the transcripts that they're early admission as well.
Okay, so what are we supposed to be deciding here today?
Well, the-
Are we
the
supposed to be
current- the current
deciding
policy
anything?
is that both here and elsewhere is that students who are P-TECH are not part of the class ranking in their home school.
But it doesn't say that in our policy. I guess that's what I'm struggling with. This, I think it's looking at the policy, I'm looking at this enrolled at Canajoharie High School. That's where I'm struggling with the P-TECH, not enrolled here, but if they're a part of our high school, just like somebody who does early admit. I'm just trying to put it together in one way or another to make it make sense so we're honoring the policy. Do you see what I'm saying?
I want to make sure that whatever we're doing, we're following.
We're following the policy. This is not about people, it's about, the actual person, not about Angelo, it's about, are we following the policy as we're supposed to for any student, whether they're in P-TECH, whether they're in FMCC, whether they're in COBOL skill, if they are all considered a part of our high school, that's what I'm struggling with.
With Mr. Bettino out, if I can interject, I'm just looking in the SIS in the school information system. A student, I just pulled up a student who I know is in early admit. They come up as an enrolled student at Canajoharie High School, even though they were an early admit at FMCC. Bringing up a P-TECH student, and I searched this two different ones, they do not come up in the SIS as an enrolled student at the district. If you go into census and search anybody, those students will come up because they'll find a student anywhere that has ever gone here, but they're not coming up as an enrolled student, just going off of the student information system.
And that's the same for any of my students that are
You
placed.
talk a little louder, please.
That's also the same for any student placed in a special ed specific program out of district. Their enrollment is in that program, in that whatever school it might be.
So my question then is, how do we determine, then do those students who are in those types of programs, whether it's an IEP, 504, P-TECH, not, do they receive a Canajoharie High School diploma?
Yes. We're the home district.
And that's where I'm having a hard time. I understand what you're saying, and that makes it logical that they wouldn't be included in the class rank. Do you see what I'm saying? If they're not, if they're whatever you called it, CIS, whatever.
The student information system.
Thank you. One of those anagram things, yeah. But if they're receiving a Canajahary High School diploma, then why wouldn't they be included in class rank? I don't care what program they're in, you know?
They're different programs, that's the whole idea, they've been different programs for 4 years.
But it's still a Canajahary High School
And every
diploma.
kid in the state that goes to P-TECH programs or to 4-year programs that aren't in their school are not involved in class rank because they're in different programs.
Who says?
Every school district in the state that sends kids to P-TECHs or sends kids to 4-year programs.
Well,
I'm just struggling because if they're getting a Canajahary High School diploma, why aren't they included in class rank? Or in any district. I don't care, you know, if you're involved in the Capital District P-TECH program and you go to Mahonison.
Well, I would just like to say, I mean, to me, one significant difference
That's what I need to hear this
is
because I'm
that
struggling.
all of their required courses are not being taken here. They still have basically the same requirements of any student that is here, but they're taking different courses in a different place with different teachers and different, you know, parameters and so forth. And so, you know, I don't think they're not going through the same process that our students here are for most of their high school education. You know, I mean, they're getting the same material more or less, but in a totally different environment and a totally different place. And so I mean, I feel like it would be like our students should be compared to Johnstown or Amsterdam or, you know, I mean, that's my feeling. And I don't think that you could do that meaningfully. You know, in terms of, is that the, you know, are they being ranked and graded and tested the same in those different environments? And I don't think that is the case.
Okay, so I want to follow up on that. When a student is a senior, let's say they come in, because this, I can follow this logical thing, what you're saying. When they're, a student moves here, senior year, okay? Are they included in class rank?
This would be a junior year at least.
So they have to start taking classes at Canajahary full-time their junior year in order to be included in class rank. Correct? I mean, they still might graduate if you have a kid who comes in midway through senior year because their parents moved and they moved here and they could have 100 average, but it's not going to count towards class rank.
Correct.
Because they weren't taking the classes here. All right.
I'm sorry, just, Chris, you had a comment?
Yeah, if I can address the board, thank you for, you know, considering this. So, just two points. So, if a student moves here the last day of their junior year, according to how this is read, they would be included in the class rank. So they have to move here before the start of their senior year. So that's a little bit different. Also, I have spoken to other
Prior to their junior year.
Did it say prior to their junior year or prior to their senior year?
Where do you see it?
Right on the first page, in the first paragraph.
Oh, okay, and prior to their junior year, if they are an out-of-district student. Now, that's school prior to the start of their senior year, if they are an in-district student. And prior to their junior year, if they are an out-of-district student. Okay,
Yeah, so we're not talking about out of district, we're talking about in district, somebody moves here, you know,
Right.
in district.
Gotcha.
And then the other thing is that, I don't think that every P-TECH, you know, school, if that's what you want to say, or program, or course, or pathway, to me, it's basically all the same, that they don't receive a class rank. All right, now, so I don't specifically have names of schools, but I've talked to other principals, and their basic response was, some schools do include class rank, some schools do not. They just didn't have that information in front of them. So I'm pretty certain that not every school district does not include them in the class ranking. You know, so again, I think it's a disservice to not include these kids in the class rank. I mean, I think we're only dealing with maybe 6 kids this year, right?
I
And it does make a difference.
I take a little different approach, and I guess I think that we should have our attorney weigh in on this. I mean, we're trying to interpret a policy that we don't really know what it means to be enrolled at Canterbury High School. So if we have an attorney, if we have an attorney's opinion that we're following the policy, then it would be irresponsible for us to not follow the policy. So if the attorney,
one way or another.
right. So if our attorney is advising us that it doesn't fit the criteria, then we don't have a choice, because we have to protect the risk of the district. It's not a personal decision, we have to follow the policy, and if we're getting legal advice to say that it doesn't meet the criteria of being enrolled at Canterbury School, then I don't think we really have a choice, unless I'm missing something.
No, I don't think I understand. Oh, no, listen, the policy does, it's not enforce, the policy does not enforce us to include students into class rank.
What are the
But
benefits?
does it preclude us from including them?
Does it
That's-
include us?
Like,
I don't think
Does
anything.
it say that it can't?
well, there are things that when they're not at Canterbury, not enrolled, then they're not. And I guess,
But you're referring to P-TECH, I'm saying, you're referring to only P-TECH.
No, it could be
I'm referring
anything.
to what
No,
does.
you're referring to the legal aspect only to P-TECH, is what I'm saying. You said check your legal.
Right, what's,
for the
and I don't
P-TECH.
want, yeah, I want to know that we're following the policy, and I want to know that our legal team has told us that we're following the policy.
Yes, we are following the policy, we don't include it in the class rank.
Okay. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're fine. What I was gonna say was that it's not just P-TECH, it's for any program.
Right, exactly, and I just think policy shouldn't be able to be debated. If it's the policy and it's clear, then we should follow.
Okay, well, have we had an opinion from
Yes.
our attorney? And that's what you just stated?
Correct.
Okay.
I don't have anything else. If our attorney says we're following the policy, then I don't have any other questions.
My opinion is that I think there are 2 other people on this board, and that in order for us to make a fair decision, I think it should be tabled to the next meeting before we have, if we're supposed to have any kind of motion of any sort, if that is needed, I would request that.
Okay, so make a motion to table it?
Well, I'm
It's not an
asking
action
you,
item.
I'm asking you if there needs to be an action on this. That's what
It's
I'm
not an
asking.
action item, it's just a discussion item, so
Okay.
there's no action that needs to be taken tonight if you don't.
I don't want to make an action
Right, there you go.
without
Yep.
the other 2 people present to be represented and have the chance to weigh in, because I think that's the fair thing to do. Okay?
So then we'll just put it on the agenda for the January meeting, is that acceptable?
That would,
Agreeable?
yes, agreed.
Okay,
And it will give me a chance to think about this a little bit more.
all right, move on then. Okay, so, thank you for coming. Obviously, you all don't need to hang around if you don't want to, but you're welcome.
Thank you, guys. Have a good holiday.
Thank
right?
you.
Appreciate it.
You too.
Happy holidays.
Have a wonderful prom.
Bye, guys.
So the next thing on the agenda would be,
Make a motion for consent agenda?
okay.
Oh, we have,
Oh, my phone.
hold on, we still have to discuss the the presentations for next year.
I thought that was.
That's old business, not new
That's
business.
old business.
Is it, where are we?
Or I guess
Yep, you're right,
class
sorry,
rankings too.
I'm. on
Okay,
my
so
game
you
this
made a
week.
motion for a consent agenda, do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Okay, so we'll get started, minutes, anything there? Bills? I had a couple of questions, but since Leah's not here, I will ask them
She's on the
privately, and
WebEx.
if there's any issues,
She's
I
here.
will, what?
She's on the WebEx.
Oh, hi Leah. Are you there?
Yes,
Yes?
yes, I'm
Okay.
here.
I just had three questions. One is 60884, the Fulmont Works compensation plan, $79,000. I'm not familiar with that, or I've forgotten.
Yeah,
it.
that's the, we're in the workers' comp consortium with all the other school districts in the region. And that's the premium we pay a year. One-time
Okay, so
payment.
that's a yearly premium,
Yep.
okay? And then 60901, McPhee Memorials, 4,900.
Yeah, I believe that's for the names out on the bricks out in front of the building, the seniors that they do every year.
Okay, thank you. And the last one is 60969, the pupil benefits plan, $9,900.
That's the student accident insurance. That's also a one-time payment.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions on bills? Treasurer's report? Voting results? You all saw those, the capital project passed. The school tax collector's report? I had one question there, Leo. I did my math again, and it said interest added to the return taxes, and I did the math, and it was almost 3%.
It
But
should
we're
be
getting,
3%.
huh?
I believe it should be 3%.
How much?
Three.
Yes, I'm saying it's 3%, and I'm wondering why we're paying that much interest when the interest that we're getting is like 1/100th of 1% from our different institutions that hold our money.
What are you looking at?
Why are we paying that much interest?
When the money's going to the county
Are you
versus
looking
what
at the
we
tax
get when we
collector's
have our
report?
different accounts with different savings institutions.
I'm sorry, I don't know what are you actually looking at?
Okay, so on that tax report,
The tax collector's report, the one page?
correct?
Okay.
Yeah. So it shows the total amount that we put out there for people to pay. It shows what we collected, and then added to that is interest added to what we return to the county.
Right.
Correct?
That's the interest is what is due on the bills that weren't paid. So the last two columns, the total return to the county, the 588,989, the 17,000 is added to that, and that's the amount the county is going to pay us back because people didn't pay their taxes. We're not paying
Okay,
that.
so that's, well, why is it called interest?
Because when you don't pay your school taxes, you have to owe interest on it. That's not the school's not paying that. The school's getting that because people didn't pay their taxes.
Okay, so that's a penalty that people get
Yes.
if they don't pay their taxes.
Yep. So we're gonna get the 588 plus the 17. We're gonna get that given back to the school in March or April.
Okay, so that's a penalty, so that's
Yes,
probably why it's a
because they
little
didn't
higher.
pay. Yep. The 588 number is what people did not pay. It's still owed
Okay.
to us.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, I was just very confused
No,
to see
that's
that.
fine.
All right, any other things on that? All right, moving along, Cobleskill Richmond. Arkell Hall transfer,
Is
anything on
the
that?
Cobleskill, is this student
Special ed.
special ed?
That's a special placement.
Mm-hmm.
Arkell Hall. Deferred compensation plan. Let me know when it's good to move along.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Reserve plan, any questions there?
What is, oh, that's for retirement. Okay.
The deferred stuff?
The
Deferred
reserve,
stuff?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Mhm.
Then we got the MOA. Just to let you know that that person
Yeah.
was left off
Yep.
inadvertently.
Yeah.
Okay. Athletic placement policy request, anything there?
Mhm.
Okay, then I would move for a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. On personnel, would we like to do a consent agenda on that as well?
I'll make a motion for that.
Second.
Okay, any question on the extending the appointment of the math teacher?
We post it again, and didn't need anybody, so we'll continue to post every month.
Mm-hmm.
Spring coaches, anything there? Okay, basketball assistant?
Why, it's already in the spring coaches, isn't it? Oh, no. Okay. Sorry. Okay, yep, gotcha.
Teacher mentors?
Is this teacher mentors for students or teacher mentors for teachers?
Teachers.
Okay.
Okay, sub cleaners?
Good.
Okay, termination?
Mhm.
And the BOCE sub list, any questions there?
Oh, these are just the people who are subbing for us?
Yeah, there's additions throughout the year, so we try to approve it in the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year.
Just out of curiosity, how are we doing for subs here? Like, do we have enough people?
No, don't talk about it.
No, I'm saying not
I'm
that wood,
sorry.
it's not as bad.
What?
It's not as bad as other districts. We're pulling our weight, I guess is the best way to put it.
So do we have enough subs, or do we have our other staff members, whether teacher aides or teacher assistants or teachers filling in?
Yes, they're filling in at times, definitely.
And obviously they're getting compensated extra for that?
Yep.
Okay. Because, well, I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes
But
it's
relatively,
just the body.
speaking, when we look at a sub list, and we have, the two that we have plus 5 or 6, that's pretty good, actually, comparable to some schools.
Okay, so can we have a motion to accept the consent agenda on personnel?
Yeah, second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Moving on to old business, as you know, we wanted to get a list of presentations. Basically, we have 5 meetings in which we will have months in which we will have a second meeting, January through May. And so we need to come up with 5 topics that we will be discussing. I'll give you a summary of the ones that have come to my attention so far, and then we can, you can add any more, and then we'll have to decide which 5 we want to do, at least decide which one we want to do in January. And maybe we want to wait again for the full 5 of us to be here to decide further, but at least let's get January. And also let's get whittle down the list as best we can. Okay, so Nick had made a suggestion that we do a CSI, a presentation by CSI intern students on their experiences, and ask them to make a presentation to the board. I had made 2. One was exploring different ways of increasing student participation in decision-making around their education. Another was are there additional ways we can help students to both identify and pursue their passions? the, Jen made the suggestion that we highlight student programs and have presentations about them that the board might not be aware of, is what you said at the last meeting, and ask for administration suggestions as to what would be the most, interesting or meaningful to have. Heidi contacted me by email to give me a couple of her suggestions. One was that the main one that she made was that she'd like to hear some presentations about the music department and our STEM programs with Dr. P and Mr. Harris. And other ones she would like to hear about, and she wanted to know more about some of the resources and challenges they're facing and how they'd like to grow their programs. And so that was Heidi's suggestion. And so the floor is open for any more.
The only other one I had is I'd like to at some point, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a presentation, but know a little more about the impact that our extracurricular stuff that we do impacts students in the classroom and participation in other things. Because I think that we should look at drawing those parallels as we move forward to say, the music program, this is what kind of students they are. And, because I think in the future, and not hopefully the distant future, we're always going to be making choices about some of those things. And we need to understand that those are an important part of the education process. So at some point, I'd like to see us talk about that a little bit further. And the same with the intramural program, those types of programs and how are they really impacting the student in the classroom? If there is a parallel I think we should be able to draw a parallel.
Yeah,
Well, I know in the past, if you look at the top 10, usually 8 or 9 of them are at least very active, either in combination music and sports, or of something that they have.
Yeah, I think we just should talk about that more.
Look at grades.
Yeah,
Draw parallels to students who are involved and students who aren't involved.
Yeah, we should make that known to people.
Okay, any other suggestions?
I would suggest that what Heidi was saying for the music and the STEM, to do that in May after music. First of all, it's towards the end of the school year, so it'll give them, Dwayne and Dr. P, a chance to put something together with their students, and also the music, the band program, they're going to their competition the second weekend in May. That'll give them a chance to present to showcase what they did there. And so I would suggest that's a May one, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Is there any feeling about what we should do for January?
CSI students.
Yeah, let's do the CSI students.
CSI presentation?
Yeah.
Okay. That would work?
I think that'd be great. They just presented at the Technology A Day in the capital region last week.
So then that's good. They have something, it won't be too hard for them to put something together for January. So this way we're not.
What they've done in the classroom so far.
Right. I think that's good.
And then Mark, could you send those out to all of us and just ask us to rank them in the rest of the remaining ones in importance? And then we'll just send that back to you, and then.
Did you get those down, Andrea?
Let me just not have to go through it again.
No? All right, I'll send it out to you.
Yeah, and we'll rank them, and then you can just tell us what the top 3 were for the remaining slots.
Okay.
Yeah, if we have those 2 for January and May,
now, right?
and then we'll just
We need
figure
3
out.
more.
Yeah.
Right.
In May, you wanted more, what was that? More
The
about-
music, the one that Heidi suggested on the music and STEM, whether or not we do that, maybe they each take 10 minutes and just,
And what was going to
She wanted to know more about what.
the resources and challenges that they have, and success, and I would add successes to that.
And how they would like to see to grow the program.
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're good with that, and I'll type up and send out the.
Sounds
other-
good.
I'll do them all, but I'll indicate, January, May, and the others to be ranked. Okay? All right, great.
Ms. Jones about that, see what you can. I think more about, what they're doing in elementary school with the kids, their presentations, those two things would probably be really.
Yeah, their work with that was the fourth grade, I think it's a couple weeks ago, absolutely.
Oh, I see how I messed up. P-TECH was on old business. That's what I messed up.
You move one piece though.
Sorry.
Which is fine, that's what we wanted to move, because we don't want to keep everybody here.
Okay, is there anything we need to do in exec?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to go in exec.
Do I hear a second?
Sure, second. Sorry. It has been a very long,